we still faithful. I'ma put it all on the table. We forever faithful. Yeah, we still faithful.
What's going on, 49er fans? Thank you for tuning in to Keeping the Faith. I am coming to you live down from 49ers headquarters at 4949 down in Santa Clara. Okay, I'm not doing that, but I wish I was. If only those walls could talk. Am I right? Because there is a lot going on with the San Francisco 49ers, a lot of recent developments that I want to get into. And in case you missed the recent live stream, I figured I'd talk about them right here. Now, where are we at? Where are we at right now with the 49ers and their defensive coordinator search? Well, former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who was also formerly the New York Jets head coach, is now clearly the front runner for the Jacksonville Jaguars job, according to multiple reports. This mainly due to the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars have fired their meddlesome general manager, Trent Baalke, who has seemingly gotten in the way of every possible hire that they wanted to make to fill that vacant head coaching position. A lot of guys don't want to coach under him. A lot of guys do not get along with him. That is well known around the NFL that Trent Baalke is a guy that people just don't mesh with. And now that he is out of the way, Robert Saleh is considered a heavy favorite to land the head coaching position. He has a second interview scheduled with the Jacksonville Jaguars on Friday. He'll be heading down there Thursday evening, of course, for that interview on Friday. Now, it remains to be seen if he's going to be, given that head coaching opportunity. Other names have been mentioned recently: Joe Brady, Kellen Moore. Now that Trent Baalke is out of the picture, there may be other candidates that are more open to the possibility of coaching in Jacksonville. But as it stands right now, Robert Saleh is considered the betting favorite to be the next Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. And that brings you to the San Francisco 49ers and their vacant defensive coordinator position. And according to Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard, he detected some anxiety down inside 49ers headquarters today after that news that Trent Baalke got fired and Robert Saleh is looking more and more likely to be the guy that ultimately gets that job over there in Jacksonville. And Kawakami mentioned that things are getting a little tense down there at 49-49. We all know at this point that Robert Saleh has been the 49ers' plan A, plan B, plan C. They've barely talked to anyone. It appears they've really not even done their homework, for that matter, as it pertains to the 49ers' defensive coordinator position. Robert Saleh is their guy. It's very obvious. All the eggs are in the Robert Saleh basket. That is the most popular term you have heard surrounding this topic over the last several days. And with Robert Saleh potentially out of the picture, the 49ers are scrambling to try and figure out what they want to do. Conceivably, the most logical thing would be for the 49ers to promote from within, in-house, in assistant head coach Brandon Staley. But from everything you're hearing, nobody really seems to want that. The 49ers have had multiple chances to give Brandon Staley that defensive coordinator position. They could have did it a year ago when they elevated Nick Sorensen to that role. They could have done it now. They've already interviewed Robert Saleh, Deshae Townsend. They've satisfied the Rooney Rule, so they could give Brandon Staley that defensive coordinator spot at any moment, but they haven't done it. So that tells you something. That tells you that the 49ers themselves aren't convinced that Brandon Staley is that guy. And now it has the San Francisco 49ers in scramble mode, according to Tim Kawakami, regarding the anxiousness that he detects down there inside of 49ers headquarters. And another thing that Tim Kawakami is hearing, there's another name that is being floated around inside of 49ers headquarters, and it is a name that 49er fans are very, very familiar with in former Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. Yes, that Pete Carroll. This is not the Twilight Zone. This is 2025. The NFL, your San Francisco 49ers are discussing the possibility, the potential of extending the offer of the defensive coordinator job to Pete Carroll. Believe me, when I first heard it, my jaw hit the floor. But after thinking about it for a little bit, would it really be the worst thing in the world? Yes, I know that's crazy coming from me. Those of you who know me know my disdain for the Seattle Seahawks everything to do with him, including Pete Carroll and his chomping of the gum that he is so well known for. But would it really be the worst thing in the world if Pete Carroll became the 49ers defensive coordinator? I gave it some thought. And right off the jump, instantly, you think the Niners run the Seattle cover 3. Who was the architect of that? Pete Carroll. And by all accounts, the Niners are not looking to have a scheme change. Everything that they've done so far will tell you they're not looking to have a scheme change. They're going to continue to run that wide 9, that Seattle cover 3, that four-man front. And so who better to run it than the guy that created it in Pete Carroll? It's kind of that simple if you think about it. Now, I know Pete Carroll hasn't been a play caller in quite some time, but the guy created the scheme. The guy's had success with it. The guy's been around football his entire life. He knows defense. He knows football. He knows the cover 3. He knows how it works. So at the end of the day, just based on that alone, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world, especially you just had Nick Sorensen as your head coach. You fired your last 2 defensive coordinators after 1 season. Would bringing in Pete Carroll really be the worst thing that the 49ers could do? A guy who knows the system? I don't think so. And instantly, one of my first thoughts goes to a guy like Malik Mustafa, 49ers safety Malik Mustafa. Instantly, I think, hey, he could potentially be Cam Chancellor 2.0 in this scheme. You look at a guy like Jair Brown, who before being in the Kyle Shanahan doghouse this season, had shown the ability to create turnovers, be a bit of a ball hawk, intercept passes. Could he be, a Timu Earl Thomas? I'm not going to go that far because he's not rangy. He's not that kind of a safety. He's not that athletic, but you see what I'm getting at here. And I think that the Niners, they have some guys that would fill roles in this Seattle cover 3 that Pete Carroll is so familiar with, that would remind you of those Legion of Boom days, of those glory days up there in the Pacific Northwest. He would instantly have credibility, that being Pete Carroll. He would instantly have credibility with the players in the locker room. They would know that he knows what he's talking about. Pete Carroll's been around this game for a long, long time. He knows the scheme. He would bring that coveted energy that is being talked about down there at 49. A big part of this coaching search for the defensive coordinator spot is all about energy. They've lacked that with the last 2 hires in Nick Sorensen and Steve Wilks. So energy is something being floated around as a big thing that they're looking for in this coaching hire. And really, if we're talking energy, who has more energy than Pete Carroll? I don't care that he's 73 years old. Pete Carroll is a guy who he eats, sleeps, and breathes football. He loves it. And you see it on his face. You see it in his body language. The guy's going to bring a ton of energy and a ton of positivity. He's going to help with the culture in that 49ers locker room. And I just think at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world, 49er fans. I don't know about you. Now, instantly, the pushback would be Pete Carroll's age. He's 73 years old. He's largely been a head coach for the last several years. He hasn't called plays in a long time, right? But Pete Carroll is no stranger to calling plays. It's nothing he hasn't done before. He's around football all the time. You think he doesn't know what's going on in the NFL in 2025? I think he is. He's trying to be a head coach, for crying out loud. He interviewed with the Las Vegas Raiders. He knows what's going on in the NFL in 2025. He knows the scheme. He knows how to run it. And even though he's 73 years old, all you have to do is look around the NFL. Who has the number 1 defense right now? That would be the Philadelphia Eagles, who are being coached up by 66-year-old Vic Fangio. Has the game passed him by? I don't think so. Then you look within your own division. 2017, the Los Angeles Rams hired then 69-year-old Wade Phillips, who helped coach them to a Super Bowl appearance. Age doesn't really... I'm not worried about the age, especially when it comes to Pete Carroll, who is a very young, very vibrant 73-year-old. I don't think age would really be a terrible thing. Now, the next part of the pushback would be, well, he's 73 years old. How long are you really expecting to have him? Guys, why are we worried about 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line? If you brought in Robert Saleh, you would be worried about the exact same thing. After 2025, would Saleh get a head coaching job, right? Well, after 2025, if you in theory, bring in Pete Carroll, let's say he retires. Anything could happen. It's a year-to-year league. Everything is fluid. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with 2, 3, 4 years down the line. I understand the big picture mindset, but look at it like this, guys. 2025 is the last year of Brock Purdy's rookie deal. And not only that, the 49ers have what is considered to be the easiest schedule on paper based on win percentage in the entire NFL in 2025. You need to take a big swing this season. And if you're not going to get Robert Saleh, I think getting Pete Carroll would be quite a swing. And I wouldn't begrudge the 49ers for doing that. And then, what else do we have here? I have some notes. Lastly, here we go. Lastly, one of the biggest things, the biggest reasons to bring in Pete Carroll would be you would have to imagine that he would help bring along, coach up, assistant 49ers linebacker coach KJ Wright, who played for him in Seattle. You would have a succession plan built in if Pete Carroll was your defensive coordinator. I truly think he would do everything he could to help get KJ Wright up to speed to be that successor when Pete Carroll either moves on to get a head coaching job if somebody decides to hire him, or if he retires after the 2025 season. Who knows? But at the end of the day, having a succession plan would be a huge deal for the 49ers. They had that when Robert Saleh left for the New York Jets and they promoted DeMeco Ryans. Now, if you bring in Pete Carroll, you could, pass the reins, pass the baton to KJ Wright when Pete Carroll decides to move on in whatever capacity he decides to do that in. I don't know, guys. Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong. Hey, at the end of the day, is this even likely to happen? Probably not. There's nothing concrete saying that the Niners have offered him the job. There's nothing saying Pete Carroll would even accept the job. He's looking for head coaching opportunities, whether it be with the Las Vegas Raiders. There was rumors that he was interested in the Chicago Bears job as well. Pete Carroll may even say no. But at the end of the day, would it be the worst thing in the world? Even if you're just kicking the tires to see if he's interested, would it really be that bad? I don't think so. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Let's go Niners, and let's see what happens with this defensive coordinator spot.